Hey folks, Randy here with Dolan Cut and Trim. So this is the biggest leaf removal we have tackled to date. We tackled this probably about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And so I wanted to tell you how we got to that point and kind of show you how we did it. So as you guys saw in the last leaf removal video, actually every leaf removal video I've posted so far this year, I'm working together with Bill from Billy Goat Lawn Care. He and I are combining on all the leaf removals in our area, which has been a really great experience for both of us. On this particular leaf removal, and for those of you with sharp eyes, I am putting an Echo backpack blower on. Because of the size of this property, Bill's primary blower and backup blower are both more powerful than my blowers, so so we decided to go with his. And I just paid for gas. So we're both getting set up. Bill's running the 8010, and I have no idea what's on my back, except it's more powerful than a Steel BR550. That's all I can tell you. And it's made by Echo. As an aside, I kind of like the Echo. The Echo's got better back straps, for comfort, but Steel I think has the better handle when it comes to the backpack blowers. But that's just my opinion, and it doesn't really actually matter. So this property was actually kind of a funny one. I got the call, and the customer asked me if I could come out and give her a quote, and I said sure. This is a 2.5 acre property. And so I went out to the property, and she was walking around with me, and as we're walking, we're just kind of talking while she's showing me everything. And she tells me that, and by the way, we already did all that. This is after our first gas up. You have to refuel every hour or so. So anyway, so she and I are talking, and she mentions that she actually got my information off a friend of mine's website. She said she had contacted Billy Goat Lawn Care about doing the leaf removal on her property. Again, 2.5 acres, it all looks like this. All of it. Literally all of it. And so she asked Bill, hey, excuse me, could you give me a quote? It's 2.5 acres, and Bill said, nope, too big. And so she saw my info on Bill's website, and so she contacted me, and so she told me that story, and I told her, I was like, well, it's kind of funny that you say that, because if you decide to hire me, Bill works with me on all my leaf cleanup, so he'll actually be out here too. So anyway, when I went out to quote this property, I honestly got pretty overwhelmed pretty quick, because it was going to be by far the largest cleanup I'd ever done. The biggest leaf cleanup I've personally ever done is 3/4 of an acre, and this is almost 4 times that size. And so when we got done walking the property, I was just really honest with her, and I was like, look, I would love to do this job. We bill it at $40 a man hour, and we would be doing that regardless of the size of the property. However, I got to tell you, I have no idea how long this is going to take. I can give you some info for companies that may be able to quote you a better price, and probably could maybe get it done faster than me. But that's all I can tell you. And so I talked to her for a couple of minutes, and honestly, when it was all said and done, she said, I really like you. I really like the honesty I feel like you're bringing to the table. So she said, I'd like to go with you guys. So how about we do this? Let's do 10 man hours and 2 dump runs and see what happens. See how much you guys can get done. And we'll reassess and go from there. And so that's what we did. That's what we're doing right here. This video that you're watching is being recorded about an hour into the job. And so, basically the game plan was to start at the edge of her property and work our way towards the driveway, so that it would be easier to load the leaves up once once it was time. So we were there, and actually, honestly, this day did not go according to plan. So the plan was for this property, we got there at 8 a.m. and the plan was we were going to work till 1 p.m. because 2 guys, that would be 10 man hours. And we had another guy who had a trailer with double the capacity of my truck, and so we were just going to load his trailer up once and call it a day. However, things did not go according to plan, which was my fault. So when he, for reasons that don't really matter, that guy was supposed to show up around 12 and didn't get there till about, I don't know, 1:30, 1:45, which was a real, no, that's not true, around 1:15. Supposed to get there at 12, got there around 1:15. And then we were using a leaf loader to vacuum up all the leaves, but that wasn't really working out the way we'd expected either. These leaves were pretty heavy. Some of them, she had told me it had been 3 years since they had picked up leaves on this property, so it was just a lot, and there were sticks, and the hose kept getting stuck because honestly, unless you got a leaf loader with like a 2-foot wide hose, I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. Those things, it's debatable how worth it those things are, in my opinion, because they can get clogged pretty easy. So anyway, long story short, instead of us getting out of there at 1, his trailer was loaded up by about 3:30. So we're supposed to leave at 1. We're still there at 3:30, but I had severely overestimated how much we would be able to get into the back of his truck. So we then had to spend, we were basically, he loaded up his truck, and we had only loaded a little more than a third of the leaves that we had blown to the driveway. Which at that point, I don't know if this woman is going to hire us for the long haul. So we can't just leave these leaves sitting by her driveway. If the wind starts blowing, her driveway's going to get covered. It's going to become treacherous, and it's just going to leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth if we do that. So there was no way that was going to happen. So basically, we ended up having to do the whole rakes with tarps thing and rake up the leaves onto tarps and drag them to a place on the property where there was easy access. Actually, back near where the trucks are parked. And so we did that. So we ended up not actually leaving the property until 4:30. So it's one of those things. The nice lady paid for 10 man hours, and she ended up getting, I think, 17 or something. It was really, really, really annoying. But you gotta do what you gotta do, to make sure the customer's taken care of. Customer service is really, really important. It's very important that you go that extra mile. And, it was just like to add insult to injury. She actually drove up while we were still working. So it was like, man, we're supposed to be gone at 1. She's home from work at 4:30. We're still here, And so I talked to her. I explained to her what happened, that, this is what we were doing and why. And she was appreciative and, all that. I mean, very, very nice lady. And so I got an email from her, I guess. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me back up. So she asked me if we were going to keep doing this, what would be the game plan? Like, how would we go about getting it done? And so I told her, we could commit to, I think I told her we could commit to 10 man hours once a week on Tuesdays. I think that's what Bill and I agreed that we would be able to commit to. And so she said, okay, let me get back to you. And then she emailed me and said, look, Randy, I got these quotes from these other companies. They're telling me they can do it for X amount. I don't feel like you're able to do it for that same price. And she was right. I mean, I don't remember what the number was, but let's just say that company told her $2,000. If they told her $2,000, then I was probably going to be like $6,000. I mean, there was no way I was going to be able to meet their price, which I'm guessing they had like one of those massive trucks with that monster leaf loader on the back, and they were probably using leaf plows and 6 dudes with BR800s, and God only knows. Whatever it was, that it was no way I was going to be able to do it. And so I told her, I was like, hey, as long as you got that price in writing, I mean, shoot, go for it. That's a fantastic deal. And, so she said, great. I appreciate it. And she said, what I'd like to do is get them to clean it all up and then have you guys maintain it. And I was like, hey, that's great. Love to do that. Just let me know. And so that was a couple weeks ago. I honestly haven't heard from her, and don't know that if I expect to hear from her or not. And honestly, it doesn't really, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it's her property, and if she needs to go with where she can get the best value. And I'm a nice guy, but I'm not sure I'm a pay 3 times more nice guy. So that's what's going on with this job. And honestly, it was kind of a lesson to me, because I was like, man, trying to dispose of all these leaves, I'm like blowing the leaves and getting them loaded up. That wasn't going to be the issue. The issue was like the dump runs. Her property is quite a ways away from the dump, and we were looking at a lot of money in dump fees if unless I was able to find some location or a friend's house where I could dump them. I actually my cousin, oh, you see that? See that book? I'm trying to show it to you. I didn't do a good job. This is where I was reading Dave Ramsey's book, EntreLeadership, for the first time. Really, really good business book, man. Especially if you're a guy like me who's doing this debt-free. That book is it's like a blueprint, man. It's a really good resource for guys that are trying to do this thing debt-free. And anyway, so you can see we're actually getting fairly close to the driveway, at least on this side. It's kind of a weird shaped backyard, so like when we head to the when we head to the right, we actually get further away from the driveway just because of the way the property is shaped. So, but yeah, now I will say the thing I've noticed, and you can kind of see this when you watch this if you're paying attention, but two leaf blowers pushing leaves at the same time, it's amazing how much you can move when you've got 2 blowers going at the exact same time, pointed at the same place. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, you might have a pile that you literally cannot move, but if you've got the 2 blowers pointed at the same time, I mean, you can push a car off the road or something. I mean, it's pretty crazy how much power you get. Now, that might have been a little bit dramatic. But this is my first time working with I'll say a skilled operator when I was doing leaf removals, and man, it is a dream. Typically, and I'm not trying to dog anybody that I've worked with in the past, but typically when I'm doing this, it's with guys who don't do it regularly, and so a lot of what I'm doing is just telling them what to do and making sure they're keeping busy. Working with Bill, it's pretty nice because he's well versed in the business, and he's he understands what we're trying to do. So there's you're never in a situation where you're having to make sure the guy's not being lazy or anything, because you just know Bill's working his butt off just like I am. So it's a real nice experience partnering with another lawn care business on leaf removals. I mean, it can be a little stressful. And you definitely need to make sure you do your homework about the guy you're going into business with. But this worked out really well for he and I. I'm doing this job happened in sometime in November, and I'm recording this in the beginning of December. This voiceover, and I actually did more in revenue. I'm sorry, that's not true. I was just a couple $100 away from this past November from making more than I had made the previous 4 Novembers combined. I was just a couple $100 away from doing that, and I think it's because the amount of productivity that you gain with 2 experienced workers is just unreal, man. It's just been a really, really, really fantastic situation all around. Let me tell you, man, this job could be a little treacherous at times, because goodness gracious, I mean, like there was just trees and sticks everywhere. I almost tripped a couple of times. Do you hear that clipping? I think it's getting I think when Bill's blower gets close to me, it just gets too loud. And the GoPro camera microphone is just like, make it stop. But yeah, man, I mean, this was, I don't want to call it easy money because it was definitely a lot of work, but you know, on this job it was, you know, $550, and I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot more to say about this job in general, except that, does anybody else think this POV thing is cool? I think it's like kind of neat. It actually reminds me of when I used to play first-person shooter video games, except obviously I'm using a leaf blower and not a like that, like right there, like those video games. It would be exactly like that with, you know, the gun like off to the right, kind of pointed towards the center. You know? I just realized that's probably why I enjoy these types of videos so much, because it reminds me of video games. Oh man, I probably should have wrote down topics, although we're getting close. I mean, this video doesn't have a whole lot left to it, and you know, I've managed to go 16 minutes talking, you know, no notes or nothing, and you know, so I've only got what, like a minute and a half to fill, something like that. I shouldn't do that though. I'm not gonna just like talk for the sake of talking. I'm gonna figure out a way to end this in a way that's good and helpful. Actually, to be honest with you, this video just kind of suddenly ends. There's nothing really, because like the GoPro, like I think I recorded like a 30-minute clip, and the GoPro always like cuts the clips in half, I guess, to make them more manageable when you're transferring it over, I guess. I mean, I don't know. So this actually is just going to kind of cut, just kind of out of nowhere. And I wish I could give you a heads up, but the video editor I use doesn't really do a good job of letting me know, you know, when I'm getting close to the end. That's why we have so much stuff where I'm just talking while the screen's black. So I think I'll just let you guys enjoy the noise, enjoy the sounds of two cycle engines going full blast as we draw this sucker to a close. This is Randy with Dolan Cut and Trim. I hope you enjoy this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if this has been helpful to you. And have a good one.